Hi, I'm Joy Karavitas. I want to tell you a little bit about my single story. As Chimamanda pointed out, single stories are dangerous. They're typically only from one point of view, and they are usually inaccurate and probably incomplete. They create stereotypes that are also inaccurate and likely incomplete. My single story starts as a young child, as many do. I can't remember the context of the conversation or even why it was brought up and why we were discussing it, but I do remember distinctly my dad saying, "Don't ever go to Mexico. The federales will get you, throw you in jail, they'll leave you there, and you'll never get out." I wasn't even sure what a federale was, but I knew I didn't want to be thrown in jail and never get out. That was the story I lived with for a while. Never came up again. Didn't know it had any effect on me until several years later. Fast forward, I'm now an adult. I'm working as an administrator at a private Christian school, and I was asked to, no, I was told to, that I would be chaperoning a senior trip down to Mexico. On this trip, we would be staying at an orphanage, helping with some light repairs, and then going up into the hill country around the orphanage and within the city to give food and clothing to some people who are less fortunate. This is a trip seniors have been doing for years, and many are having the time of their life, and it was really a life-changing experience for so many. Well, this would have been my first trip, not only on this trip, but my first trip to Mexico. I hadn't thought about that single story for many years, but suddenly those fears were all right there, facing me. I was able to use my story to work with other students who are also facing fears and facing their story. Much of it because we had incomplete information, we had inaccurate information, and we didn't have any stories of our own to replace this information. What we decided was that we were going to go down and create our own story. We were going to keep an open mind, meet the people, experience this weekend, and see what we would find. What I did find in Mexico was a beautiful country, green hills, lush vegetation, but even more important, I found beautiful people. I was able to meet people who lived in houses made of kind of throwaway wood and cardboard. They had very few clothing and very little to eat, yet they would welcome us into their homes and offer to make us a meal. I found people who were gracious and loving. I found a new story. I took that trip several other times, at least 4 more times with that school, and I've been down a few times to Mexico with my own family. I have created my own story, my own place. I don't fault my dad for his single story. It was the story he was told, the story he had based on his experience growing up in 30s and 40s in rural Missouri. It's all he knew. But I think as an adult, I think as we have the opportunity to change those stories, as an educator, I have an opportunity to help students and young people change their stories. I think it's our chance to open our minds and see what the world really has to offer. We have a chance to create new stories. Thank you.